Hey, what is up guys, it's your boy Toy here. This will be a video of my 82 Eclipse run and how I did it. Let's get to it. First and foremost, let's get through some gear. So I got myself Selene on 1 ignore defense and 3 times 12. These are the perks that I'm commonly using, and the treasure hunter capsule allows for a gimmick which gives me an infinity of arrow stacks. However, if you don't have this one high star, nail ornament of the deep will be a great substitute if you have it. Second is my Glenwiz, and she's semi-optimized, but what I need to get her on is a maximum defense. The reason for that being is I'm not running the Spirit Morphing once again, and with some 45% defense on one enemy, which is not optimal, because the attack reduction defense upper is the most optimal one, especially when the Child of Hellfire will spawn enemies. It will lower my defense significantly, which I do not like. And for some reason I took this thing because I could, with a more damage reduction, I felt like I could survive a little bit more. However, onto a T5 Dark, it would be more interesting to get more defense. Therefore, the rest of my team is getting more attack, which means Fall of Frey will get a bigger shield, which means more survivability along the way. So this item would be very prone to getting either reforged or changed up entirely. As for the build that I'm using, there's no HP, and funny enough, with the monster hunting perk, the shield on Fall of Frey will get an additional 10% increase just by not getting hit as much. As for everything else, get a slight debuff, which will give me more physical damage. And with the T5 light and dark, I will get more defense along the way, which means more survivability as well. The HP perk battle cry is absolutely useless because we are not stacking HP or healing HP in the long run anyway. But what you could think of is some more block rate would be nice if you do not have enough. Then for some other neat stats is I get about 800 to 700 block on all of my stuff, and some P block and magical block defense. This will allow you once again for more shield stats along the way. Survivability is key on this Glenny in this current build. Then we go up with Rahardna, and she is running full CD3. And if I would have to emphasize on this build, I would have to get more attack, because there is a way for these shields to stack up in which Rahardna will have a very tremendous role. As for the perks that I'm using is the cooldown reduction on 7, the crit damage increase, but most importantly is this S2 Dark version, because this will be used during the run, and I will explain how to use this properly. Last but not least is my Fall of Frey, and well, although she is not optimized in a certain case, because look at this, I got some magic recovery and some P block on there for no apparent reason. But I'm running 2.5% attack, some attack increase along the way, which means that the shield is going up. But I could go for more 25% shields if I have any. And just to make sure, get yourself attack on anything if you can for your Fall of Frey. And these are the perks that I'm using. So for one, non-hero damage makes all the sense, and here is extra attack equal to her own attack. But this thing is very interesting, which increases all block chance of the people who are having the shield on, which means that Glenny will get more block along the way. Anyway, the only thing that I was thinking about, now that I know a way to use this one once again, it could increase the all damage that the enemies take by 20%. And since it has a relatively low cooldown, this might be worth thinking about getting this one out, because I already have that perk on Rahardna. That being said, let's get into the run. For our very first tactic, we got ourselves arrow stacking, which means that every single time I get to pop an S2 on my Selene, I then perform an S3 with Rahardna. And if you do keep into account that you also get cooldown reduction for every single wave, then you got to find the perfect timing of when to put your S3 on your Rahardna up to get a maximum arrow stacking. And a question that I receive very often is, why are you not using any of Glenwiz's skills? For one, if you do too much damage, you're getting through the run too fast and you don't get the whole player experience. No, that's not the case. It means that over time, if you do less damage, you can do more Rahardna S3s, which means that you can, 1, get more arrow stacks, 2, get more attack buffs. And by all means, look at this kind of damage. Do we need more? Do you need more? Now, if you want to be a true baller about this, you could actually run Fall of Frey with no shield so you don't get an extra attack up, but that would be too much in my book. So once you come up to wave 40, it is just sit back, relax, and watch all of these things die. I do believe with a treasure hunter capsule up on 4, maybe 5 star, I could one-shot these things up to maybe wave 50, maybe even higher. I don't know, I quite know. Sometimes I one-shot, sometimes I don't. I really don't know why this is happening, but it just so happens. But as you guys can see, the arrow stacks are looking quite nicely, and they're just ramping up as far as I possibly could. Sometimes I'm missing these as 3, so we could have a more optimized way of doing so. And I have been debating whether to say, oh, use the soul weapon for the extra cooldown reduction, but then again, if it does attack, it can be nasty along the lines as well. But this is where the newest tactic is coming up. What I do is I wait with my Fall of Frey shield just until the point where my Glennie is getting hit, which means that now the S2 on Rahardna will always proc on Glennie, which means for 1, she gets double shield, for 2, you get that extra 25% physical damage increase. But to take more advantage of this, what you should do is always proc the Fall of Frey shield first, because first shield is the first thing that gets hit, second shield is the one that keeps up. Knowing that Fall of Frey shield is way bigger than my Rahardna one means that in this manner we will have 100% uptime if possible on the S2 damage. Another wave on which you can use this tactic is this one, because this is the one where I actually found out that you can do it, and since my Glennie is on more magical defense than anything else, she will have the capacity to survive this, and my Selene, even if that Hellfire Child does spawn, will allow to kill wave 58. But then let's talk about another tactic, and that is called pre-stunning. What I generally do is I use my Glennie S2 and Rahardna S1 to pre-stun. There are particular ways where I use this, which is the Hellfire Child. So what I do, I go up to 61 and 62, I pre-stun, and then with some cooldown I will be able to, if I need to, on the Dullahan, open up my S1 and then save the stun upon the next ones. Now I don't need this right now, but it could very much be used. And if you look at the next wave, both my S1 and my S2 are up once again, Rahardna and Glenn was respectively, so I could stun this and then open up just some clean damage. And if you need to, and if you have it on cooldown, the S1 will then be onto a 3-star. With Selene, have your uptime once again, and you don't have to worry about getting more damage in. Another reason why I take magical defense is because of the immunity of this dude. Sadly, this is not Epis, which means that you will always get through this immunity phase, which means that with your complete S1 you cannot one-shot these things, and you will need to get some hits. And to emphasize further on this tactic, what you could do is on this wave with the Malduk is just look. This dude could do some damage. He very much does random stuff overall, but I always keep my finger on the trigger on Selene S1, because if I see him charge up anything, then I can deal with that problem in no possible manner. This was a little bit lucky because he has 3 moves. He did the normal frontline slap, which is nasty. I soul weapon up over here. I try to stun. There we go. S1, S2. Yep, and there we go. And I decided to say, oh, let's gamble. Let's not use an arrow stack and get it popping. This also means that there is 1 hit over here that is not being used. Keep my finger on the trigger once again on the S1. If this thing decides to jump you, you will die. Now for the very first time, wave 70 is where we start using our S1s, and here you go, maximum damage, because we got so many arrow stacks, it is absolutely ridiculous. Keep in mind for the next waves, I already have a pre-stun running up, so I don't have to use any more of these stuns. Accordingly, keep my finger on the trigger at all times, because this dude could shoot me down. But since he's just doing a shield, I am willing to gamble a little bit more. That way we will have our cooldowns up for whatever is to come. Open up, cooldown reduce. I pre-stun a little bit. And open up the S1. Neck and down, there you go. Now if I want to stun the next one, looking at the stun bar, I will need more than just the S2 of Glenwiz. If I would and should and could, I would have probably used the S3 on my Fall of Frey. But then again, I got lucky. The girl did not spawn whatsoever, which is quite good. And now I need to thoroughly S3 this one, because with just the damage that we gotta just hit it. Within the next one, I used to use my Glenwiz right here because I need a more defense along the lines. So if you soul weapon up, it will grant you a little bit more survivability. So on 75, 80, 85, as far as you can get it, make sure to keep your Glenny up, and that is also one of the reasons why I did complete 80 this time. Popping out the next one, we already got a pre-stun running up, so the problem is, can I allow myself for maximum damage? Keep my finger on the trigger at all times, because our damage will be significantly lowered right now. Saw that shield coming up, and knowing that the shield does have way more beefiness to it, I will have to do something about it. So here we go once again, cooldown reduce, all of my jazz. Get that slight debuff on with the Glenny S1 and then shoot this dude down. If we hadn't done the S1, we couldn't have killed the next one. Pop the soul weapon up in the next one. Make sure the pre-stun is up in order. And knowing that I wouldn't have had anything otherwise, I will just need to pop everything that I have in my quiver. Up on the next one, we don't want this dude to do any more damage than he possibly could, so I'm opening up the S1, kill him nearly in one go because the soul weapon is up. But now on the next wave, soul weapon is not up. One of the luxuries that you have right here is the soul weapon of Fall of Frey will reduce a lot of damage that the enemy is doing, which then in turn increases my beefiness on my shield. And here I was thinking, am I gonna die? Else we got the extra shield that is coming from Rahartnett that allowed Glenny to survive. That was absolutely neat. But now we gotta pop another shield because we got none. Oh, that should or would have killed us in one go if I let it. But here we go with double shields. We can do some extra damage if needed. We will stun some extra, but pre-stun will let me do whatever. Soul weapon up because I thought I was gonna die at any single angle anyway. But here we go, watch the show, and they're stun, and this one would be nice. And we will not get it. Look! There you go, got him, coach. And I did not notice, but my Glenny shield is down, so here you go. You did. So if I increase my Fall of Frey by just a little bit, if I increase my Glenny by just a little bit, then our shield would have allowed us to do a little bit more. However, we would not have enough pre-stun if we wanted to do anything else. That is it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But if you guys want to see more of all of my other teams, in-depth guide on how they work and why they work the way they do, put it down into the comments. Let me know, and I'll see you guys into the next one.